Hi, welcome back. I've not done one of these tutorials in quite a while. I'm sorry about that. I just had a few things going on which meant I was unable to record anything. And when I did, I just did not feel up to it. But now I'm back and everything's right, so we're just going to get straight onto it. Okay, so we're going to go straight into launching the Unreal Engine, and I'm going to teach you how to do a teleportation. Okay, so I'm going to launch Engine 4.7.6. If you have anything earlier, I'm not sure if everything laid out will be the same, or if blueprints will be the same. I'm going to go to new project and I'm going to choose first person, and I'm going to name this first person tutorial. Anything I teach in the first person tutorials should be able to be carried out to third person ones as well, as they all use the same similar like capsule component layout with a camera and a mesh and variables and stuff like that. Then you want to go to first person blueprint, blueprints and character. I'm going to go to viewport. And I'm just going to show you what a bit of this means, just in case you don't know. So this capsule here contains everything inside: the camera, the mesh, everything. Okay, so this is your parent, really, your parent of every object in there. Okay, and your camera is obviously your player viewing camera, and this is just the mesh you want. So you can actually move this across, and then when you go into play, your gun's in the middle of the screen instead. It's whatever you really like. This arrow here, this actually just means which way is forwards. So if you press move key, the mesh will move in the direction of the arrow. So even if you had your camera and mesh, let's say like this, the capsule will still move this way when moving forward. So I'm just going to undo that, move it back. So that was just a quick explanation there. And this is your event graph. So you don't really want to touch any of this, to be honest, because this is just for your default values. You might want to change like your spawn projects or whatever if you're using a proper game. Okay, but I'm not going to change any of that, and instead we're going to create a new comment, pressing C. I'm going to type in teleportation. I'm just going to move it up there and drag this out a bit. So first off, right away, you want to choose a button that you'll use to teleport. So I'm actually going to use the right click. So you want to press right click to call up this search bar, and I'm going to do right mouse button, which is here. Because this game by default doesn't have any iron sights or aiming, that's why I'm using right mouse button. Choose anything you want, really. If you didn't want that, you could have the middle mouse button. So when we want to teleport, what we want to do is we want to send what's called a line trace from our character to this point in the world. And what this line trace will do is it will just kind of fire out from your character and collide with anything that has collision. And this is what we want. We want our character to move to the colliding point. So if you want to teleport to, let's say, the top of a box, you want your line trace to be affected by that box's collision so your character doesn't just go straight through it. So to do that, you want to right click and do line trace, and you want it by channel. Okay, I'll have it on release so you can aim it a bit. And then we want to trace complex, ignore self. And I'm actually going to have this draw debug type. We actually need to create a start point, and the start point, quite simply, will be our character's location. So we want to get actor location, and we want to return that value into the start. This is what a line trace is. It's firing from our camera. As you can see, that's the top point, downwards to the ground, and then it stops. And that red box there means it's collided. I'm actually going to do make vector. So again, just learn that the right mouse button is the search bar. I couldn't think of it then. And I want to do vector, add vector. And I'm going to add 64. And there we go. Now this is so it actually comes straight out of the camera. Otherwise it's coming from about the middle of the mesh, if I remember correctly. So that's quite important there if you want it to go from head height, or what the player is looking at. So that's all well and good, but now we need an end. So to do that, we want to get the character's location, and then we want to add however far you want them to travel. Now we can't simply just do that, otherwise they just move in the Y and X axis. So if we look here, if you to do that, then they'd either move this way or kind of diagonally. They couldn't move the way they wanted to, which is alright if you're making maybe a third person game or a side scroller, but for a first person game we need to do this properly. So I want to get my player camera manager, so that's getting the position of the actual camera itself, and we want to get actor forward vector, and this is just checking which way the camera is looking. So we go back to the map, is it looking this way or is it looking that way? And I'm going to Control C and Control V that add, plot into there, and then we want a vector multiplied by float, and I'm going to do 2500. So this is Unreal units, so that is actually 25 meters. Just to let you know, the conversion of meters to Unreal units is 100. So meters times by 100 to get Unreal units. For Unreal units, divide by 100 to get your meters. Now another one we want to do is we want to get our actor location. Now I'm going to do all this in one. Just Control C and Control V that one. Do this into that. Get rotation X vector here. So you want to take context sensitivity off. Oh. Sorry, I had get actor location. So we want to do that, then to there. And here we want to click add pin, so we get that new pin at the bottom. Add these together, and then that's our end. So if I compile and play this, as you can see, now the line trace hits where we're looking at. As you can see, it is aimed down a bit low. Okay. So from there, we want to set actor location. And we want to connect these two up. And we want to go from out hit to break hit result. And then we want the impact point of where the line trace collides with an object. So now we can compile this, and then we will line trace and we teleport. And as you can see, we move in all directions. So unfortunately sometimes it can take a bit of fiddling with the values to get a very accurate sort of line trace. So I want to get rid of that draw debug type, and I'm going to do an vector add a vector, and I'm just going to add some height onto the location to make up for any shortness of height that is taken away when line tracing. Okay, as you can see, it's just with the physics, as you are setting your character's location, you're kind of spawning. Now maybe you don't want to just go there straight away though. So maybe you want to give the impression your character is moving to this location. So for that, you could do the move component to, and if you put the new location to the target relative location, and then get your capsule component. So that's your character. As you remember, everything is connected to this capsule right here. Okay, I'm going to ease in, ease out, and then you might want to give it an overall time of 0.5 seconds. So as you can see now, when you teleport, you move to the location. Okay, I think that's a bit slow for a teleportation effect, maybe 0.1 seconds. And now that can quite simply add a nice little effect in case you want it. And any post-processing effects should take place then as well, like motion blur, which could give a very nice teleportation. Okay, now this can be used in conjunction with my last tutorial, such as the power levels and that, so you can have it so it reduces the amount you can teleport by, or if they don't have enough power, they can't teleport at all, and you can have some fun with it. Okay, like I said, the way the line trace works, sometimes you do have to fiddle about with these values here to make sure it gets the exact point you are targeting. So I believe that's all to really say for this one. Like I said, it's a very simple teleportation effect. Some of it doesn't always work. As you can see, the physics kind of react a little bit differently than they should. But you might want to change some values and give you what you want. Okay, but a quick thing to say is this on the set actor location. So I'll bring it back up. Set actor location. You can see this thing called sweep. Okay, now this is exactly like the impact point here. If there's collision in that area, then you want to set the actor's location away from where that object is. That don't need to turn on, it's more of a secondary check if you wanted. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If your opinions are otherwise, or you have any questions or advice, just leave it in the comments below and I'll get back to you when I can. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye. To make up for any shortness of height that is taken away when line tracing, which for the most part should now give you a very accurate teleportation system. I don't know what's happened here. The physics broke there. I'm not quite sure what was happening. That's not very good for tutorial, but I'm sure that doesn't happen very often. Just gonna let you know that.